Hello, hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, it is May now.
Oh my, wow.
Yeah. So today, I have one of the most amazing people, Ronika Spady. Y'all, when I say Ronika, chap. Ronika's like my whole role model. She's so sweet. She's so patient, and like her and God, yo.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
true woman of God. And so, first, like, who is Renika? Like, what's been the past year of your life? You know, you like love God and stuff, but how?
Yes. This is 2020, right? So the last year of my life, excluding Corona, because we're all in this together, um, it looks like me recently being ordained to ministry or in ministry. I am a campus missionary at James Madison University, which is how I met Gabby. I did not expect that to happen with my life at all. Like that was not the plan that I had. I had planned to go into government. And yeah, God had obviously other plans for me. And so the past year of my life looks like getting acclimated into ministry and getting trained, seeing what that looks like. I am also engaged and about to be married in like 17 days,
You
which
put a ring on it.
blows my mind. And I recently just came off of my chemo journey. So in the beginning of the year, actually, found out that I had a tumor. Long story short, that got removed, had to go through chemo. So there's been a lot of different changes to my life. And when people say, like, where do you see yourself in a year, 5 years? Yeah, I answered the complete opposite of what is happening right now. So
Yes. And so you had talked about chemo. And
mhm.
so, what happens where you're in a season, whereas it's very, very hard to trust God because, like, you're just like, okay, God, what's going on right now? Like,
Right.
why this and why me? Especially you, like, God calls you to ministry, and you like, God, like, okay, I'm obeying you, and this is going to happen. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you do that?
That is a great question. That is actually one of the things before I actually started chemo that I struggled with. Because like what you were saying, it's like, okay, God, it's not like I'm out here wilding out. Like I never asked for this. I'm doing right by you, at least I think so. And so like, why is this happening? And yeah, I struggle with a lot of questioning, a lot of doubt, a lot of like, God, are you really good? Because everybody is saying so. And I've said so before, but is that really true? And so basically, like, I mean, obviously, I'm still trusting him at this point now. But I just had to realize that his promises are true, his word is true. And whatever is in the Bible, whatever he has told me directly or via someone else, it's like, okay, am I going to just blatantly give up basically and have no faith and just throw in the towel because things are hard? Or am I going to trust that he is who he says he is and he has made me perfectly in the image of him and that what he says about me is true? And so it was a constant, like, daily, if I'm being honest, like minute by minute battle where it's like, okay, I'm not going to believe the lies. I'm going to believe the truth. And even finding the truth was hard. It's like, okay, people say believe the truth, the truth of God, but it's like, how do I even find truth? Like, so how do I know what to believe? I mean, that's really where I had to start going to my Bible and praying, which for me were not easy things. I, off the bat, don't want to read my Bible. I don't want to pray. I'd rather be doing something else, like, I don't know, skipping outside or something. So,
Transparency.
I mean, still, I would rather be doing other things. And so even taking that discipline to like ask God what he thinks of me, or like, okay, I'm in this situation, what is going to happen? Like that was very daunting for me. Um, but once I had that truth, it was an everyday process of believing, okay, you said it. So
Yeah.
this looks the complete opposite right now. Like chemo, I didn't think was in the picture, but you said I was, like, you have all these plans for me. So it means that I have to live to see all of that. So obviously the sneak peek at the end of the book or the movie is that you're going to bring me out of this. So I'm just going to trust that you will. And even if you don't, you are still good.
Mm-hmm.
That was my
So,
thought process.
so, like, how did you trust him when you didn't know the final result? Like, were you thinking like, okay, like God, this is just gonna be done like today, this is gonna be done tomorrow, I'm still trusting you daily. Like, how
Yeah.
did you do that when you don't even know the final result of your situation or when it's gonna end?
Yeah, that's good. It was frustrating, especially for me, because the process lasted way longer than I thought that it would. I thought when they said that I had like 3 or 4 rounds of chemo, in my ignorance, I thought that meant 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 a day. And for me, that looked like 3.5 months. And I did not know what to expect. And I didn't realize until this process, but I like to control a lot of things, and I like to be spontaneous when it's on my time and when I know what to be spontaneous about. And so when I didn't see like the end or the process, or I mean, honestly, it was like I was walking in fog. It was very hard. And that's when I really learned about faith. And that faith is harder than people make it seem. People
It's
say
true.
like,
Mhm.
yeah, people say like, oh, have faith. But it's like, that's one of the hardest things you can do is actively exercise your faith.
Yeah.
Um, and so honestly, the best way I can describe that question is, the, like when you were in elementary school or middle school and you did the trust fall,
Mhm. Mhm.
it was like that.
Like
um,
every single day.
ever more than once a day.
Yeah.
It was like that. But trusting, like, after I closed my eyes, squeezed him real hard, and fell back the first time and he caught me, I was like, okay, you might be a little strong. And so it was an everyday process of just leaning back and being like, oh, are you going to catch me today? Like, are you? And for me, he built up that resume like, okay, he did catch me. So I got the surgery, but it was good. I'm alive. He caught me. Okay, I got to go through chemo, but okay. The first day was actually not bad at all. And so it's just finding the little things and leaning back, and it's hard, but I couldn't focus on the end race. I had to focus on where I was running in that moment.
Mhm.
And that is what got me through. If I would have focused on the end, I don't know what I would have done, but I think I would have went crazy. So I took it one day at a time, one moment at a time, one step at a time, one fall back at a time,
Mhm.
and asked him questions. And I was real with him. Like there were times where I like to journal, so I would write down like, God, I'm so mad like right now. Like
Yeah.
why
Mhm.
am
Mhm.
I going through this? And just I
Mhm.
found that being honest with him
Mhm.
in the process and not trying to like hide things because he
Yeah.
knows how I feel. It
Mhm.
it made trusting him in the unknown a lot better too. Once I knew that he could take my emotions and my thoughts, I felt like, okay, then maybe I can give him more. Maybe I can walk a little bit longer than him, and then the next day a little bit longer.
Yeah. And that's really good, like how you said you had that transparency, because if you're fully gonna be trusting God and you're not even being honest with him, how is he gonna help you, Like how? And so, well, you had said something else. And so I have a question. Do
Mhm.
you think that every single level, like within, and this is for like believers, like people who follow Christ completely,
Mhm.
every single elevation where God takes you, that it requires either sacrifice or requires like a pruning process? Do you think that that is true?
Yeah. um, yeah, like for instance, I'll even take going into ministry. Obviously, that's something that.
And she told me this, y'all, when I'm going in.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, take notes. But like, that's next level. And I'm not saying next level like, oh my gosh, you're out here, nobody can touch you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying a next level as far as like greater discipline, greater hearing, greater anointing, greater whatever. It's kind of like a promotion in a job. Even with a promotion, it's going to be the next level, something greater. And so basically, like, I found that I could not, there was a lot of baggage that I think everybody carries, but that I was carrying that God was like, for this level 4, you cannot have that, because if you carry that baggage, it will like mess you, not only you, but you and other people. And so there was a lot of pruning. Oh my gosh, there was so much pruning that had to be done. And now, like, that I'm out of that pruning season, I am so grateful for that. I've seen how I've been able to help other people, how God has been able to help myself, how I've been able to have a deeper relationship with God. Like, I mean, there are so many things that I'm grateful for now, but
Mhm.
it's like during that pruning process, I did not want to die to myself. I did not want to. And I think that's just the nature of the flesh is like you don't want to sacrifice, you
Mhm.
don't want to prune. I mean, there have been fasts that our organization Every Nation does, um, quite often. There's multiple a year.
Mhm.
And every time it comes around, I try to find some excuse to be like, nah, well, I still need to eat though. So let me just do all vegetables. And that's great. Like if that's the stage that, I mean, that's where I was in level 3, but level 4, he was like, okay, now you know you can go a 6 to 6. And then level 5, now you know you can do liquids only, water only for the 3 days, whatever that takes. And so in the moment, that pruning and that sacrifice is not fun, but like what you get out of that fast is like
Yes.
greater vision, greater anointing, greater, just a greater version of you.
Mhm.
So I think every level requires that.
Mhm.
And I would even evaluate had I gone through this season of my life
Mhm.
from January to now, and if I evaluate it, if I didn't change at all, I would be questioning a lot of things. Like, okay, did God just take me through all of that, through that test or whatever, for me to not have put any work in and fail? Now I got to redo the whole thing. Like, this is crazy. So, yeah, greater level, greater sacrifice, greater pruning, but it is worth it. And you end up reaping in the end.
Yes. Yes. That's true. That's true. And then also, it's like when something else happens to you, right after you've been through something, you're like, God got me through that. What you gonna say to me to
Right.
make me mad today? What you gonna do? Because my God is greater. You know.
Exactly. It
Mm-hmm.
works out.
Yes. Yes, Lord. All right. So my final question, right? Say I'm a person. Um, I either don't believe in God or I think that Christianity is a flukes or whatever. And so how do I begin to trust God when like I don't even completely believe in God? Or like why do you think people Christians trust God? Like how? Are they crazy people?
My initial thought to what you asked me was, yeah, we're crazy. But
Yes.
not in a bad way. I mean,
Uh-huh.
if you really think about it. So actually, I'll start with a little mini story.
Mhm.
Um, I may not look like it, but I am very like nerdy. And so I was going through this, that's the only word I can come up with. I was going through this time where I was doubting God. I was like, okay, it just doesn't make sense though. Like there is science and there is everything that I know that we can prove. And then here's you, God. And even since I can remember when I was a little child, I would ask my mom, like, okay, but how is God real? Because it doesn't make sense. Like it never, even to this day, there are still some things where I'm like, I do not
Yeah.
understand for the life of me.
Mhm.
And there was a process, a point in my life where I had to just accept, like, maybe I'm never gonna know. Even like with my brain. So we all have brains, right? I know I have a brain. There's no way that I can see my own brain unless I were to, well, but then I would be dead. So I still wouldn't see my own brain, even if I cut it open, my head open. And so it's like at some point on every level, whether it's with religion or whether it's with something else, like something else completely different from religion, it's like we all have to have some level of faith. And so the question
That's
to
good. Like you still, even if you don't believe in God, you have faith that you don't believe in God.
Right. We are all believing in something. Even
Mhm.
if you're an unbeliever, if you are walking around on this earth, you are having faith. There's gravity, right? You cannot see gravity. You can't see it.
Mhm.
But we know that we're rooted and we're not flying off into space. So
Mhm.
it's like it's truly the question. I think it's a pride issue that we have to get to at the end of the day. Like, so if I'm believing in something that I can't see, whether I'm an unbeliever or not, like, am I going to choose to believe in God? And I think that it takes that, again, faith, that step of faith and that leaning back of it's like, okay, well, you know what? What if I
Mhm.
lean back and trust you? And that's been in that season of my life. That was, I would love to say that it was a calculated decision, but it wasn't. Well, it was a calculated decision, but a calculated decision into something that I couldn't see. It was, all right, I mean, I've been hearing about you. People seem to be dying for you. So, I mean, you must be like somewhat legit. So I'm going to try. And I tried it. And I can't go back, won't go back. Even if I had the chance to redo it all, I would not go back and not put my faith in him,
Yeah.
even though I can't see him. And I've had some great moments
Mhm.
where, though I can't see him, I have felt him, I have heard him, I have experienced him. And that, like,
That's
those moments,
everything.
right? It's like, I didn't even got to see you after we've had all of that. I don't have to see you. Yeah, and nobody can tell me that that wasn't real, because, like, how? There are stories, but we don't have time to go into that.
Oh, because when you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. Any other thing that you would say to someone who finds it hard to trust God? Like, or maybe somebody who, like, they say that they're Christian, but like their life doesn't follow that.
Yeah. And the question was, can you repeat the question again?
How do you like, say I'm a person, right? And like I like knew God in the past, or maybe I didn't, and like I'm finding it very, very hard to trust God. What tips would you have for them?
The first thing I thought of was, do you trust yourself?
Oh,
And I asked that question because I have found over the years that the person that probably lets you down the most, at least in the top three, top two, is yourself. And so if you're still continuing to trust yourself through all the times that you said you wouldn't do this and you did it again, or I'm gonna do that and you didn't do it, it's like, if you have so much faith to trust in yourself, this is for the believer and unbeliever. This is even for myself. I truly believe if you're continuing to trust yourself, then who has continuously failed you, then you should probably try trusting in someone who will never fail you. And then comparing that, like, that was straight God right there. And comparing those two, because life, I actually I found out that he was a Buddhist yesterday, I think. And he was just talking about how he was striving so hard to do good, do good, do good, because of good karma and all those things. And I asked the question, I was like, do you ever give yourself grace? Like, do you give yourself grace? And he looked at me like he had no idea what that was. And then when he processed what that was, he was like, ew, like, why would I do that? And so that's kind of where I'm getting at. It's like, there is a God, the one and only true God, who is not only perfect, but giving you grace. He's loving on a consistent basis. He loves you more than we can ever love ourselves. And so it's like, again, I say, try to do that leaning back method with him. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm gonna say something to him and if he doesn't respond in 5 seconds, then no, this ain't for me. I mean, like, really, really try. And if you find by like the end of 30 days, someone told me, give yourself 30 days to build a new habit. And it's also a nice, testing time. If you give yourself 30 days and you are really going hard, like figuring out who this Jesus is, what has he done? Who do people say that he is in the Bible? Like, if you find that he has never failed you more than, or I guess, yeah, if he has never failed you, even though you fail yourself all the time, that's probably somebody that you want to lean all the way back into. So that's kind of my advice, is to try it. And I know this is probably not a good Christian thing to say, but if you find out that, like, I have enough faith to say, if you find out after that time that he is not for you, or that he's a liar, or that he's not good, okay. But at the end of the day, there's no harm in trying. And so even if you are the Christian who has like went away, like, try again, talk to him again, journal again, love him again, figure out why you even left him. And maybe he's been trying to heal those things all this time. So yeah, I would just say there is no harm in trying Jesus. And some people who end up trying end up staying and loving it, i.e. me. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. It does. Thank you so much to Renika. Oh my gosh. Oh, we got to talk talk about? Okay, one last thing. Well, this is my last thing.
Oh,
So,
I love talking, so
Monica,
it's fine.
your wifey, ow, ow. How are you trusting God in this new season?
Oof. How do I even I've gone through premarital counseling, which was awesome. I've been reading the
Oh,
Bible,
how,
reading. Hmm?
so I have a quick question. So
Yeah.
does it start like when you get engaged, or like how do you know how long you should do? Oh, it does.
Um, like how long, excuse me, how long to be engaged or how long to do premarital counseling?
Like premarital counseling or both.
When we started, well, I guess we'll say it like this. When we first got engaged, we figured out when we wanted to get married, when we felt like God was calling us to be married. And I don't know if every couple does this, but with us, we actually like intentionally prayed into that.
That's
And we
good.
felt,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and we felt like, I don't know why, but we felt like May was the perfect time. I guess God knew that I was going to go through chemo. So anything earlier than that would have not been good. So that's good. But we told the people that we wanted to go to, one of our pastors and his wife, the deadline, like when we were going to get married, and they have a curriculum, and they basically said, I think that we needed, I forget how many sessions. I don't know if it was 6 or 8, but they broke that down based on our timeline. And again, for me, it looked different and a lot longer because of the whole chemo process. So what some people go through in, I don't know, 6 sessions, maybe we did 9. So, but yeah, so that was premarital counseling, and that was great. And I've been reading the Bible, and I've been like reading up on Christian like blogs and things. And honestly, after all that, got great information. I still don't know what to expect because I've never been married before. And so this, I was actually before you called, actually, Gabby, I was kind of processing some things with God, and I was just thinking like, God, I don't know what this looks like, but I mean, obviously you've called us together. And so this can't be a surprise to you. So
That's true.
even though it kind of makes me low key nervous that I don't know what I'm doing, I would just trust, I'm gonna trust that you have everything already planned out and in control. So again, it's another lean back method. And that's kind of how I live my life in every season. It may sound a little reckless, but that's the only thing that I know how to effectively do is to just be like, God, I don't know. I'm low key stressed. This is bad. I got a headache, got a migraine. I'm gonna just lean back.
Laying back.
Right. I was about to, anyway.
All right. Well, thank you so much to Renika for coming on. Praying for her to have so many different blessings in these next couple months, years. She getting married, y'all. All right. Well, thank you so much to her, and I'll see everyone again next week.
Bye.